All right, so get ready because we're diving into something really fun today. Anglo-American culture.
A deep dive into all those little quirks.
Yes. You'd think with the whole shared language thing.
Right. You'd think it'd be almost the same.
Exactly. But get ready for some surprises because things get pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So, to kick things off, let's imagine we've just touched down in London.
Right?
And where's the first place we're heading?
Oh, a classic British pub, of course.
Of course, you can't go wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
Now, I've always been fascinated by pubs. It's more than just grabbing a pint, wouldn't you say?
Oh, without a doubt, it's like stepping back in time,
Yeah.
So much history soaked into those walls.
You really feel it, don't you? Like a living, breathing slice of British culture.
Exactly. It's about community, tradition.
Yeah.
That sense of camaraderie you just don't find everywhere.
You've really hit the nail on the head there. Speaking of tradition, let's talk about ordering at the bar.
Ah, yes, the bar.
Yeah.
No table service here.
That's right. You've got to be assertive.
It throws you right in the mix, doesn't it?
It does. And then there's that whole unwritten code of round buying.
Ah, the social contract at the pub. You buy a round for your mates, and they return the favor.
Exactly. Reinforces that sense of togetherness.
Precisely. And while you're enjoying that camaraderie, might as well indulge in some pub grub.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of which, what's your go-to pub dish?
Sunday roast? Hands down. It's a British institution.
Can't go wrong with a classic. And of course, no pub experience is complete without a bit of friendly competition.
Absolutely. Darts, Skittles.
Oh, Skittles. Like bowling, but different.
It's got a charm of its own. And for a real challenge, you have to try bar billiards.
Bar billiards. I've never even heard of that one.
It's unique. Played on a table without pockets. Requires a certain finesse.
I can imagine. But here's what I find fascinating about all these pub rituals.
What's that?
They offer a glimpse into some deeper cultural values.
Oh, absolutely. They were like little windows into the British soul.
It's that sense of shared history, that sense of identity. It's really quite remarkable.
It really is. It's about connecting with something bigger than yourself, something that's been passed down through generations.
That feeling of belonging, of being part of something.
Exactly. And speaking of those cultural quirks,
You know, when I think about those classic American and British stereotypes, it always comes back to optimism versus pragmatism for me.
yeah, I think you're onto something there. Americans with their can-do spirit, always looking at the bright side, and Brits with their, that dry wit and more down-to-earth outlook.
It's such an interesting contrast.
It really is.
It makes you wonder what contributes to those different perspectives.
Well, history's got to play a part, right?
Well-
You've got America, this nation founded on revolution, on the idea of limitless possibility.
Right, the land of opportunity.
Exactly. While Britain has a much longer, more storied past, empires rising and falling, maybe that leads to a bit more pragmatism.
Makes sense. That keep calm and carry on mentality.
Exactly.
I wonder if those different historical lenses, like you said, affect how each culture deals with like everyday challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Picture this. Someone's just spilled their pint in a crowded pub.
Oh no,
the
horror.
Right. Now, an American might be quick to jump in with napkins. Don't worry about it, happens to the best of us. All that positive energy.
Very American. What about a Brit?
A Brit might offer a knowing nod, maybe a self-deprecating joke, something to lighten the mood without making a big fuss.
It's fascinating how these cultural differences seep into the language too. Like everything in America has to be amazing or incredible. But in Britain, there's that art of understatement.
It's true. Less is more.
And speaking of things that are quintessentially British, we can't forget about those accents.
Oh, the accents. Music to my ears.
Seriously, what always gets me is how much they can vary even within the UK.
It's incredible, isn't it? You can travel a few miles and it's like a whole new world of sounds.
I know, it's amazing. So what's the deal with all these different accents? Is there like a linguistic reason for it?
Well, there are actually a few things at play. One key factor is something called rhoticity.
Rhoticity.
Yeah, it's basically whether the R sound is pronounced at the end of a syllable or after a vowel.
Okay.
So most American accents are rhotic. You hear that R in words like car,
Car.
but many British accents are non-rhotic. That R is softer, almost silent. So car might sound more like ka.
Car. Wow, I hear it.
And then there's the wonderful world of vowel variations. Bath versus bath, grass versus grass. Subtle differences that create this incredible tapestry of sound.
It's true, and it really shows how dynamic language is, how it's constantly evolving and changing with geography and even social class.
Absolutely. And speaking of adaptation,
This whole idea of adaptation makes me think about another big difference, work-life balance.
Ah, yes, the
Yeah.
eternal struggle.
Seriously. I feel like it's always a hot topic, especially when you compare American and British work cultures.
Definitely a tale of two perspectives.
Right. Imagine being an American and overhearing your British coworkers' vacation plans.
You might have to pick your jaw up off the floor.
No kidding. They're talking about weeks off, not just a couple of days here and there.
It's quite the contrast. In the UK, it's the law. You have to have at least 28 days of paid vacation.
Wow. Here in the US, paid time off can sometimes feel like you're winning the lottery.
It really does highlight those different cultural values, doesn't it?
It really does. So, how did these different approaches to work life balance even come about?
Well, it's a tangled web of history, social factors, economic realities. But at the core of it all, it's about how each culture views the role of work in a person's life.
That makes sense. So, in the US, it's all about the hustle, all right?
Exactly. The American dream is built on this idea that hard work equals success. You got to climb that ladder, put in the hours.
It's true. Always striving for that next promotion.
And while that ambition can be a good thing, it also puts a lot of pressure on people. Can lead to burnout.
Oh, absolutely. The pressure is real, and I guess that's where the UK takes a different stance.
Yeah, in the UK, there's a stronger emphasis on protecting your personal time, recognizing that everyone needs time to recharge, to pursue their passions, to just live life outside of work.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Is there a way to find that sweet spot, that balance between ambition and well-being?
That's the million-dollar question. Maybe it's about shifting our priorities a bit, focusing on quality of life, not just the number of hours we clock in.
It's something to think about, that's for sure.
Definitely.
As we wrap up our little Anglo-American adventure, I'm just amazed by how much there is to uncover about both cultures.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. We've wandered through the cozy world of British pubs, decoded those intriguing accents, and even tackled some pretty big questions about work and life.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
It's true. There's always more to learn.
Exactly. So, to our listeners out there, the next time you encounter something that seems a little quirky, a little different, embrace it.
It's those little differences, those cultural quirks that make exploring the world so much fun.
They open our minds, broaden our horizons, and remind us that there's always more to discover.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those deep dives going.
Cheers to that.